What's good, guys? This is Miasin. This is the 6th OCG metagame breakdown for the format. And I don't know, is Sword Soul still the best? Obviously. There's no surprise there. I mean, ever since it got initially released, it was always the best deck. It still is. And I think it's still going to be the best deck as long as it doesn't directly get a hit, or as long as another really good deck doesn't like dethrone it. However, what are the other best decks, and can we notice some new trends? Well, maybe, but before we get into it, please consider liking and subscribing. Really helps me a lot. And yeah, let's jump right into it. Alright, so Sword Soul 16.9%, or Jan whatever, and then after that we have Tri Brigade 15.4, so actually really close, 11 and then 10, and even right after 9 with Virtual World. So yeah, VFD, man, it's broken. It's funny because even at the TCG, I want to say Virtual World is still in like the top 5 best decks. It's really good, but in the OCG, it's like supposed to be so much better. Tri Brigade shouldn't be better than Virtual World, but apparently it is. Alright, Drytron, yeah, I mean this deck is pretty insane at the TCG as well. Eldritch, alright, people are also playing Destiny Hero cards in the Eldritch deck. Obviously Prank Kids, whatever, it's to be expected, I want to say. Zodiac actually got so much worse with Drancia getting banned, so we can't really see like pure Zodiac doing as well as it used to, whereas Prank Kids, it just dodges every single ban list like left and right. It's crazy. Anyways, Destiny Hero Invoked, Destiny Hero Orchest. Again, I made like a video specifically on how the Destiny Hero package was like really good, and people are still asking like, I don't get it, like what makes the engine so good? I mean, really, you can just go check the video I made and like the combo videos with Virtual World. I think that's, even though I'm not really using Fusion Destiny, it still shows like how you can draw Malicious and Denier and still do like so much. Even if you draw like 2 Malicious. My hand wasn't good and I still made like the full board. It's actually insane. Dragon Maid, Magician, Sky Strikers, Cyber Dragons. Oh my god, what is this? Destiny Hero Adamantipator, Phantom Knight, Thunder Dragon, and this is Cherubini Synchro Link Turbo Shenanigans. 3-axis is really weird. It means that you're playing the level 3 monsters to make your links with like Cherubini and then maybe Rusty. I don't know if they have access to Rusty in the OCG, but still. The most important thing here is that the Destiny Hero package is absolutely everywhere. It's ridiculous, but yeah. Dragma Flunderies, Invoke Shadow, and then Dragon Link. People are actually still playing that. Sword Soul, Yangzing, Tenyis, they have Denglong, by the way. So, I don't know, I would actually be kind of tempted to play that. I don't know why this is part of like, it's not even like up there. And the Tri Brigade Leerlusk, I also would have put it like here. So I don't know, it should be 12, 11 instead of, yeah, whatever it is. But anyways, for Sword Soul, so Kazuma went 502, finished first in 84 player event. So that's actually pretty nice. Yeah, alright, look at this. This is an increase in players running the Tenyis Sword Soul build, as it is able to play around Token Collector. Because the thing is, when they summon Token Collector, it stays on the field, so if you can go like Vishuda Bounce, for example, that's already one way to counter the card. And then the Tenyis monsters are used to synchro summon Shi Jiao, the Sword Soul Grand Swords Master, or Draco Berserker of the Tenyis. The reason why you don't have access to any other level 8 synchros is because Ashuna, when you use its effect to summon a Tenyis monster from your deck, if you want to keep your normal summon, it locks you under Wyrm only, so that kind of sucks. Shi Jiao is obviously extremely good, but I don't know, it's kind of, it's not optimal. That's why I said, like, I'm not a big fan of the Tenyis. Like, yeah, sure, they're kind of cool going second, but it's kind of all there is to it. And I think playing only 2 of the Long Yuan or whatever is kind of suicidal, but we're gonna see. Anyways, token monsters are normal monsters, hence a Sword Soul token can be used to fulfill the activation requirement of controlling a face-up non-effect for the effect of your Tenyis, of course. Nothing new here. I also explicitly said that in my combo video. A useful application is using the level 6 monster, discarding Vishuda. That's actually really nice. And then you summon your token, and you can literally bounce something right away, like a skill drain, for example, because the effect of the level 6 that summons a token, it's kind of like the ice bell or whatever, the wind witch that summons like a monster, but it's like from like it's the same effect in your hand. And like the virtual world, same thing. It's not like I summon my virtual world and then effect on the field to send for like from deck to grave. That's not how they work. So yeah, skill drain, that's a great way you can actually beat the card. And if you can play some Tenyis cards, your discards are actually just much better, because the Tenyis, you kind of want them in the grave to a certain extent. But what do I actually think of this deck list? I think there are a few things that are just kind of weird to look at. Like, there's no instant fusion, no gold Stark, only one sudden shift, no searchable of the Monster Reborn Sword Soul card. Then apart from that, I want to say this set 2 is just like, my brain can't comprehend that. But apart from that, I feel like it's okay. It's probably gonna be like the new virtual world in the manner of you can't really innovate too much. There's always like one core of the deck, and then it's like, yeah, just play it, man. It's what I find really sad about Yu-Gi-Oh! Just in general is that the majority of your deck list is just hand shops and generic cards. Like, look at this, man. 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, so 6, 7, 10, 13, and then 3 Desire, so 16, 3, so 19, 21. 21 cards are just generic cards that technically every human on Earth could be playing. It's just kind of sad. Like, this is very reminiscent of like GOAT Control and the formats before GOAT Control, where everybody played the exact same deck because like 75% of the deck was like identical for everyone, almost. Not 75%, I'm obviously exaggerating, but a huge percentage, and then you got to innovate with like 15 cards to play with. Or like 20 at max, but I don't know, it wasn't too great. And I feel like we are back to having the same issue as we used to before, but whatever. Alright, for the extra deck, 2 Shijiao, 2 Baxia. Okay, the Dragite is actually great. Berserker of the Tenyi because it's Wyrm, so even under the Tenyi lock, you can still summon Draco Berserker. I already also said that in my combo video. But yeah, Colossal Fighter because of the Maxi, so you can deck out by crashing and special summoning every single time. Blood Rose Dragon, or I guess Muddy Rose or whatever. This is the level 10 Sword Soul that I don't know the name. Baroness de Fleur. Baguska because when you are under a token collector, you can't synchro summon. Well, you can, but you can't have your token, so you can synchro summon. So you're only like kind of left with the ability to make Xyz. What I kind of find almost whack is that you're on 2 Zeus with 1 Xyz. Oh, actually, no, it makes sense because you make Baguska and then into Zeus, and then you attack, and then next turn, if you only have like 1 material left on the Zeus, you can attack again and then make Zeus on top of Zeus. You actually can do that. So it's not illogical whatsoever. And then the 2 Monk of the Tenyi also makes sense because sometimes you have like a Tenyi with like another Tenyi, and then like the Tenyi monsters are effect monsters, so you use them to make like Monk, and then you have like 2 non-effects. And then you can use the effect of your Tenyi to keep special summoning from the hand. Comes up sometimes, but not all the time. Yeah. Alright, and then the side deck, Double Nibiru Dimension Shifter. Dimension Shifter is actually a funny one because you're not siding it to beat your opponent, but rather so you can counter it with Crossout Designator. You're probably scared of Flunderies, which explains it. And then Lancia Token Collector, blah blah blah, double Tactic Talents. This is Lightning Storm, Duster, Imperial Order, Dimensional Barrier. Just a bunch of one-ofs because you really want Crossout Designator to be as broad as you possibly can. But this is just what complements the argument that I just used a few minutes before. You're literally playing the exact same cards regardless of what deck you're playing almost, but yeah, your side deck just has to have a bunch of cards just so you beat your opponent. I don't know, it's weird, but yeah. Tri-Brigade, alright, this is shocking, man. People are playing Cataroost, which is considered to be arguably the weakest Zodiac monster in the entire game. I mean, it doesn't do much because when it's destroyed, you just shuffle back a Zodiac from your grave to the extra deck, but that's not the real reason why people are playing it. I don't know if you actually remember what Ram and Bunny Blast do when they are underneath Xyz monsters. Well, I think only Zodiac, but basically when you're being targeted by a spell or trap, either Bunny Blast or Ram can negate and then destroy the activation. So Imperm, for example, does nothing when you have Ram, and Forbidden Chalice does nothing when you have Bunny Blast. Cataroost is similar, but for monster effects. Therefore, you actually get to protect yourself from Shijiao, the level 8 synchro monster that negates, so this little guy. And that way, you actually get to break their board, make a Borbo, and then obviously into the Zeus. And from there, you should be able to win the game, because if all they have is just, like, negation, and they summon all their monsters and attack, your Borbo, as long as you get to still be able to attack directly, you kind of just win the game there. So right now, since Drancia is banned, the best Zodiac in the entire extra deck is Borbo. That's just, you know, it's just a fact. Laika is not as good as it used to be. This is Laika. This is Tigers. Yeah, I know I use the old names, Bernard. But yeah, Laika is just not as good because you can't go Drancia, pop your own Ram, then revive back Laika. You can go Tigris, revive back just so you can go Mega Clops. You can't do that anymore because you have no way of destroying your own mon unless you sack the barrage, but you have to be skillful at Yu-Gi-Mon to do that. But yeah. Apart from that, the rest of the main deck, exactly same thing. 2 Rescue Cat, same thing as always, right? 2 Rescue Cat, 2 Karis, and then obviously a bunch of hand traps, and then Desires, Cross Out, no Call by the Grave, because, I don't know, man, I'm not really scared of hand traps, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Foolish, I don't know about Foolish, though. I think this is rather foolish to play in your deck, but yeah, I could be wrong, alright. And then Revolt, Imperm. I will never get people who play 2 Revolt in their deck. It makes no sense. I just don't get it. Like, you want to physically hard draw one, because even if the first one gets belled, then the second one that you searched can still use its effect. So I don't get the reasoning behind ever playing 2 Revolt. Like, if Revolt ever gets limited, which will not happen, if anything it might get banned, you'll just regret that you've never maxed out on this card. It's literally the only reason, the absolute only reason this deck is even somewhat playable. You take out this card, and all you're doing is like Appaloosa, Shuanglong with 0 cards in hand pass. That's a nice deck. Okay, 0 cards in hand, I'm obviously exaggerating, but it becomes like I have a bunch of hand traps with like my Link 3, and at best I have like this guy, and then I pass. So it's just not ideal, but yeah. Alright, anything noteworthy in these side deck? I mean, 1 token collector, that's kind of weird. I guess you can Foolish Burial for it. Alright, that's 1 application for the card, sure, fair enough. But apart from that, I don't really see how you're consistently sending it to the grave. So, yeah, alright, maybe. Anyways, whatever. The rest is kind of logical there. Anti-Spell Imperial Order, red reboot, blah blah. Alright, Virtual World. Okay, as the metagame is slowly leaning towards more combo decks, several players have chosen to run 3 Nibiru in the side deck. That makes sense because this deck actually does lose to Nibiru. Even this deck loses shockingly much harder to Nibiru than you think, because not all of your hands can make Baroness first. Sometimes you just can only make level 8 Synchros. It really does depend, but yeah, that actually kind of sucks. And yeah, what else are they saying? Tenyis Sword Soul is more resilient to Token Collector, but it does lose to Nibiru more. So, I don't know, it's kind of easy to beat Sword Soul post Game 1, but it's really hard to beat them on Game 1. So that's the reason why people are completely on Sword Soul, because, like, yeah, it doesn't matter sometimes how many cards you need to, like, beat a certain deck. If it can consistently win Game 1, as long as it gets to win Game 3, the deck is still meta. Like, some people, sometimes they look at a deck and they're like, this deck will never be good because on Game 2 and 3, it loses to 10 side deck cards. I mean, sure, that's a good argument. Like, if you Alive Justice Cycle Reader Drytron, I don't see how you lose, if it successfully resolves, unless your opponent literally hard drew the nuts, but that's another story for another day, or like Call by the Grave or some BS like that, or Instant Fusion, but yeah, whatever. Alright, back to reiterating what I said. Look at the amount of generic cards, even in Virtual World. So 5, 8, freaking 11, 14, 16, 16 out of 41 are just cards that, regardless of what deck you can play, you play, you're always gonna have them in your deck, almost. It's just like insanity. Desires, every single deck out there is playing 3 Desires. Like, all the best decks. It's actually insane. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Anyways, so 3 of everything except Nyan Nyan. That's a 2 of, I don't know, I think Nyan Nyan is good though. It's okay, it's not broken, so sure, fair enough. And then nothing else that is spicy. Nothing at all. For the extra deck, nothing at all. And for the side deck, Skill Drain, but that's not the first time that we see it. Therefore, nothing is spicy. I'm sorry, but yeah. Conclusion, Sword Soul, Tri-Brigade, and Virtual World, as you can clearly see, are the top 3 for this deck, with just a deck count apart from each other. That is true. While Drytron and Eldritch are not that far behind, but still, we can see that there's kind of like a clan of the Trinity that is being formed right now, and the power level difference between the top decks in the metagame is quite minute. That's actually a word. Oh my god. I actually didn't know that. It's kind and no single deck has been able to consistently make the top cut. This is actually so jokes. That's actually the funniest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah, this game is so healthy. So many decks have the opportunity to go well. To do well. Yes, that's why every single time you see metagame breakdowns, it's always the exact same decks that get like top everything. Yes. Let's try to play some spicy decks because regardless, yeah, if someone topped the YCS with Cyber Dragons, then it means I can top with Cyber Dragons too, right? Right. I mean, it's Yu-Gi-Oh is just skilled, so why complain? Okay, yeah, alright, we're gonna end this video here, but that was definitely funny. A beautiful article overall. I mean, the guy who writes this, Akira, you're just a legend, man. I actually have nothing else to say. You're just a god. Like, this is beautiful to look at. Road of the King, man. Please, guys, check out Road of the King. Give them all your support. They also have some... This is pretty cool. In their Discord server, you can actually check the deck list of people who actually topped in the OCG, and I really recommend it. If I actually had it in front of me, I would show it, but yeah, I am in the Discord server, and it's great, man. Constantly posting stuff, people are having conversations, some nice back and forth, so I really do recommend using Road of the King if you want to look in the future, because a lot of people might be like, oh, OCG, TCG has nothing to do with it, who cares? No, that's not true. Me, back in 2016, end of 2016, the way I started preparing for the next TCG format was by studying the OCG extensively, because it was very similar for the most part. The only difference was Harpy's Feather Duster, and we had Regeki while they didn't, but they had more copies of Dark Hole. But that's literally it, but yeah. Anyways, that's it for this OCG metagame breakdown. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, blah blah blah, and I will see you next time. Peace!